Also, really understanding the recourse factor of it. And people who are not familiar about this term, recourse meaning you are responsible if anything goes wrong with the property. Non-recourse means you're personally not responsible. Your property will be responsible to pay back whatever that worth at that time. And then what really Mark was saying is knowing exactly the details of those recourse could be you know cases where there's very little
Yeah.
versus big, right? Fraud versus
Right.
missing a $500 lien payment, right?
Yeah.
You have every business have several vendors, and some vendors are stupid. They send you invoice, they may not have received, they may not have seen the contract. Long story short, that $500 lien on your property can trigger the recourse. And it's as crazy as it sounds, that happens all the time.
And just to make one quick comment on that, because I know we are going a lot of detail, but Sid could have a deal. I'm a vendor. He owes me money. The property owes money, right? I send in, some sort of default notification to the address, like that's
Yeah.
his home address. Okay. And he moved. He never got it.
Yep.
I actually, as a vendor, can literally potentially foreclose on his property if he owes me $1.
But Mark, you also mentioned the operating cost of running those businesses went up, meaning
Right.
insurances, COVID, because of the COVID, the
Utilities, yeah, everything.
utilities, the insurance, the property taxes, and general R&M cost, right? Your paint is expensive, your material is expensive, your light fixtures is expensive. That's to me, that's a perfect doomsday, right? People don't talk about it. It was not really a recession, but if you are talking to an operator who's trying to run a commercial property, your debt is distressed, meaning your loan is not helping, and your operating costs are not helping. And then on top of it, we have not even talked about the challenges about the third party management company and the employment or hiring a good employee and retaining a good employee for the cost. The payroll went up. Those are just cherry on top, right? That just give us overall. So in summary, I just want to make sure I'm repeating this for to myself to dumb it down. 2022 to 2024 was a perfect storm, right? When it comes to commercial real estate. After 2022, all those loans, the floating interest rate debt, meaning your interest rate not going to stay fixed. A lot of those type of loans were out there in the market, and that was the only way to get to buy commercial real estate. And the insurance on those floating interest rate was very cheap. Meaning, guys like you and me and all of our operators, we knew, or at least we knew at the time, that because the insurance on those interest rate is so cheap, more than likely they're not going to go up.
Right.
And that is the whole premises, right? So a lot of people bought those apartment complexes that need renovation and capital expenditure. And Fannie and Freddie were maxed out by giving those loans. So a lot of times they're not doing more loans because their balance sheet was full up until 2022, 2023. We have had deals where we were in the floating debt. And if that would be the case where we didn't have the operational line, we would have lost our sales.
Right.
If we had the operational line, that's the only reason we were able to get out of the floating rate interest rate loans to a fixed loans. But again, you and I both can possibly agree that 2026 is no different than last few years. It's probably the same. So, Mark, thanks a lot. So, given knowing what I just told you is like this is what we have been sustaining. Last few years have been tough for everybody. We now what we're buying, learning from what we've gone through, is we are purely focusing on really two approach. Either it's a brand new A-class asset where we are okay to pay a market price, still with some discount in today's market,